stop, stick around, come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 6060 cycle. Who thought hits around? Welcome to another exciting episode of Wine Down with Kev. Thank you so much for tuning in today to watch our live stream. Thank you so much to everyone that has already clicked and subscribed to Wine Down with Kev on YouTube. You are appreciated. We cannot do this without you. Another big thank you to our sponsors, Carol Media and Canopy Connect. Check them out. You'll see their links a little bit later. Show them some love and support. But today, this morning, we are coming to you live from the studio. We have an amazing in-studio guest that it has taken me 2 years to book. 2 years. Y'all know the line. 2 years ago, a friend of mine. No one's ever asked me to say any MC rhymes ever, but I'm available if you need that service. But let me tell you about my guest today. My guest today is phenomenal. She's an amazing life insurance agent, a member of the Century Club, meaning that she sold over 100 life applications a year for the last few years. All of my fellow insurance business people, y'all know exactly how hard that is. She is a giver. She is in the community. We're going to talk about all the places that she's at. She's a networker. If something good is happening in the area, she is there. All of those things being said, I am happy to call her my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Camille Davis.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm sorry it's been 2 years.
That's okay.
But we got here, but it's definitely been a celebratory moment.
No, absolutely. And I'm glad it took 2 years because one of the many things we have in common is that you manage your calendar. You are serious about your calendar. So whenever we text back and forth or email, like, Kev, let me know when, give me some notice, I'm booked. So let's start there. Let's start with your calendar. How far do you like to have your calendar booked?
Well, honestly, it ends up being that people book me early to sit with me.
Yes.
Whether it's for an event, they want me to be on a panel, or if it's just doing workshops. So with that being said, I'll tell you right now, I have things in October already booked.
Yes.
So those kind of requests come out early. People booked me last year for this year for certain things. And then I have my personal life, so I got to make sure everything fits.
You have a life too? Outside of business, you have a life?
I do, yes.
Oh my God. I thought you were all work. Everything you post is so positive. You're talking about insurance, life insurance specifically. You talk about positivity all the time. But I didn't know that you had a life outside of work.
Yes, I do. Yes, I'm a church-going woman. I have practiced my faith often. I'm a mother of a 23-year-old, and family is important to me. So I spend a lot of time with my mother and my family when I can.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. Well, family is important. Faith is very, very important. I like to say God, family, business in that order. What do you say to that?
I would have to agree, because without God, I wouldn't be able to activate and move the way I do. I wouldn't be able to get that pump in the morning and be thankful for where I've arrived.
Okay, so you agree with that. You're okay
Absolutely.
with God, family, business. So we're going to talk a lot about insurance. Shout out to your daughter, your mother, your family, everybody out there loves and supports Camille. But before we talk about insurance, you've been in the business for a little while now. Tell me about what you did prior to getting into insurance.
So I was in retail for about 26 years.
Okay.
I worked in our favorite boxes, most women's favorite boxes, like Express, Victoria's Secret, White House Black Market. My role, I was in about 10 years as a store manager.
Okay.
And so I've led over 200 people, the most. One of the locations being Roosevelt Field, as a talent acquisition manager there. But in every box I've been in, I had the ability to meet some wonderful individuals and work with some great individuals as well. Those relationships I still have.
Excellent.
A lot of them, actually, my mentor is a great friend of mine. And, I'm happy that I'm able to continue to build off of those learnings.
Okay, so I'm all about mentorship. So talk to me about your mentor and the nature of your relationship. And for people out there that don't have one, talk about the importance of having a mentor.
The mentor is really having someone to hold you accountable, but also to lift and empower you, to celebrate you, and also to kind of shift your way of thinking when you need someone to kind of give you a new idea or a new strategy. And I think the accountability piece, some people can take it well and some people don't. In my past life, I didn't take it well. So I've learned to be more receptive, and I want as much constructive criticism as possible because it's only going to make me better. And I think that's the kind of relationship most people should have. They may not want it, but they may need it.
So, Camille, it's going to be easy to talk about your accolades, but let's go to a younger Camille that received some accountability and didn't want to receive it, because we want to meet somebody where they are. So, when I said it jarred a story. Tell me about that version of you then and this version of you now that wants criticism, constructive feedback to be better.
I think, when I was younger, I think I was a kind of a know-it-all. Very confident. I've always been a confident person, but maybe too confident because I didn't know everything. And when you think you know everything, that's where things can kind of go left.
Yes.
So sometimes you have to have that seat at the table and a conversation with two people that are telling you you were wrong.
Ooh.
And you have to say, you know what? I probably could have handled that differently. I could have approached that differently. So the old Camille was tired of hearing those conversations. And what happened is that I've learned to appreciate the listening now.
Yes.
I listen better.
Yes.
I wasn't a good listener.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very hard-headed.
Wow.
I have to admit. But it helped me grow. So if I wasn't who I was then, I wouldn't appreciate who I've become now.
Amen. I mean, that's such a powerful story. You were a talent acquisition specialist. You said you've led over 200 people. So when we're hiring, people ask me about hiring all the time. Kev, what are you looking for? Two things: coachability and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
Well, coachability, if you're not coachable, it's going to be a very, very long, tough road, because there's going to be different avenues in life and also in business that you're going to have to take a moment to sit back like I did and realize that you could have approached or learned to do something differently or maybe elevate your approach. And I think when it comes to, accountability, if no one's holding you accountable, especially yourself,
yes,
that's where it's going to hurt the most.
Yes.
So learning self-accountability is important. And then when you have a team of people that support you, like I have Yadlin Cherubin. She is my,
Shout out
go-to
to Yad.
person.
Shout out to Yad. Know Yad very well.
We have a great relationship when we, have to have our coaching conversations with each other. We talk about our business in two different markets. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we do have the aha moments, and it's helpful because we're two, women in a business that, have to do with learning and dealing with different types of people. Mm-hmm. So not every situation is going to be the same. So you're accountable for, how you learn, how you have your calendar, right? Mm-hmm. How you manage yourself, how you approach and deal with people. And then also be observant of what you see other people doing.
Yes.
And if you have a moment to share, something with them, if they're open to the conversation, I think you should, because you're only going to help that person be better for the next time.
That's a gem. That's a gem right there. So your backstory before coming into the life insurance field, significant experience in retail. Being in retail requires you to excel at time management, not only your calendar, but managing that retail schedule, who's on staff, who's off, who's in, who's out, who's going because it's slow days. Fast forward, you enter the life insurance industry where basically you work for yourself and you're only accountable for yourself.
Right.
So for all the people that want to go into business out there, it doesn't matter whether it's insurance or some other business venture, how did you pivot from corporate accountability to self-responsibility?
That's a great question. I think the best way to answer that is to take the same skills that you did very well in your previous career and transition and find out where it fits in your new place now.
Yes.
Because if you're able to kind of gel those together, you'll be very effective. The areas you struggle with, someone will help you. You'll have support systems in place. You'll have great mentors in place. At least I hope you do. And if you don't, you can definitely find some. They're out there. But if you can take those and make it work, you'll be successful. But it's also, like I said, sometimes it's about sitting back and just observing. Whatever worked well before may work differently in this market. But it may also help you to be very successful and win depending on what that skill set was. So even like adaptability in the retail market, just thinking about that, You can have, 20 people on staff and 5 people call out. So you have to adjust and maybe re-roll people, right?
Yes.
The same thing for your calendar and your operating business. A client may have to reschedule because they're sick, right? Or if they're not feeling well, something came up, things happen. So you may have another layered appointment scheduled so that you're not missing out on that opportunity of time, because we don't get time back.
No, you definitely don't. Hey, DJ, what's up? I'm in the middle of recording the podcast.
I know, man.
This guy, we want to talk about something different. He's trying to get his website and his Google My Business page going.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody knows you helped me to get to the 2 Comma Club, and be seen by a couple of million people. But this person wants to do something different. They're trying to run ads to their book of business, their model line campaigns and stuff like that.
I know, Kev.
Oh man, well, DJ, talk to the people, man, so I can get back to the podcast. How can you help?
Yeah, man. So listen, I can help you by running monoline ads to your auto, your home, as well as optimizing your website, your Google business profile, and your social media outlets. We can do the exact same thing we've done for Kevin over the years and get you in front of millions of sets of eyeballs to help you grow your business. Contact Carroll Media today. Kev, let them know.
DJ, I appreciate you jumping in the podcast. Hit up Carroll Media. DJ, I gotta go. I gotta get back to the podcast.
I know.
What does a perfect day look like for you just in planning? What would a perfect day, from your morning routine to a couple of appointments to what does a perfect day look like for you?
Well, ideally, I get up at 4:30 to 5 a.m. every morning.
Let's go. I didn't know you were a member of the 5 a.m. club. Shout out to the 5 a.m. club. I'm a card carrying member. Let's go.
Even on vacation.
That's okay.
When my body's supposed to be sleeping, it still wakes up. My mind still wakes up. I start my days out setting up my marketing plan. If it's not already set, of course. I do my social media. I also have me a nice little breakfast.
Yes.
I do a workout in the morning on my bike that I have to do because I'm not mobile as I used to be. So I have to stay mobile now. So I start doing that about 6:30, and I hit the office about 8 o'clock. There from 8 to about 8, ideally Monday through Wednesday, give or take. That's the early part of my week. Depends on what I have going on. I have some study time in between, which is important. I might have it in the early part of my day prior to those that may not want to answer their phones before 9. Most people don't, and I'm not going to call you before 9. But during that time, I also take some study time for me. Inclusive of that, I want to make sure that my calendar starts where people want to also speak with me, right? The time that works most effectively. Your business owners, sometimes you don't call them on Mondays, you call them on Tuesdays. Right? Because they're usually getting their things in on Monday or they're closed on Monday.
Right.
As far as supplies and things of that nature. So just being aware of other people's schedules and how they operate is important for you to make your own schedule, which helps me to make mine. So I know Monday through Wednesday are my stronger days to be able to reach people, book appointments and talk to them. And then people get off of work after 5 o'clock, right? Ideally. But as soon as they get home at 6:30, they may not want to talk to me.
Right.
They want to just kind of digress. Maybe they're making dinner. So usually when I have conversations about what works best for you, so I've ideally found out between 7 and 8 o'clock are very good times to have my later appointments for those that are available. And then some people just have to talk to you in their car, like we did the other day.
Yes.
Right, on their way home, because that's when it best works for them. So the conversations and the days are going to shift and change. They are fun days as well. I do have networking events that I go to. I work with a couple of schools and a couple of colleges as well. So sometimes my calendar involves me going there in person, providing workshops, or just speaking to the staff about personal planning, understanding their employee benefits and what that looks like. So my schedule on occasion will shift, but it's pretty much the same every week. As far as my specific times allocated, and I am in church every Sunday.
No matter what.
Yeah, Sunday's my day. So if I give you an hour or 2 hours of my day on Sunday because no other time works for you, that is a gift I'm giving.
Yes.
Because that's a time that's for me and my family.
Yes. So you have Sunday as your recovery time. So you have your recovery time planned in your perfect week as well. I started with the perfect day question, but you kind of laid out the perfect week. And that's really important for people to have it in mind. What I didn't hear you say is that I'm waiting for people to call, or I hope people reach out to me. No, it's very your schedule, your calendar is very deliberate, and that's important. So let's talk a little bit about insurance. That's the bond that brought us here. Mm-hmm. How did you get into the insurance business?
I got a phone call.
Okay.
During a time I was taking a hiatus. I took a month off.
Okay.
I asked my family if they were okay with me taking a break, and I left Victoria's Secret.
Okay.
And it was the best decision I ever made. I needed to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And I did know I wanted to have my own business. I've always wanted to run my own business. I just didn't know what exactly that looked like. Got a call, went for an interview, and here I am 6 years later. It's a career I wish I was in earlier, but at the same time, I wouldn't have appreciated where I am now if I didn't have my experience before.
No, absolutely. You come with a ton of life experience and a ton of relationships, which is necessary for the business. So I want to stay in the beginning before we get into the weeds. You get a phone call. There's a process to get into the insurance business, such as getting a license. How did that feel after 26 years in retail, the idea of having to open a book and study?
Opening the book to study wasn't the hard part. I think it was translating the information, right? Because it's new, different type of information
Yes.
that I really have never been exposed to.
Yes.
So at first it was like, whoa,
Yes.
I'm going to have to figure this out.
Yes.
And I did. I took an exam through New York State, and I passed, and I was very thankful for that. I'm like, oh, okay, not too shabby for somebody who didn't know too much before. But I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to be able to take that exam. Mm-hmm. As a minority woman, I think it's celebratory to be in this business.
Yes.
And to be successful. It's not easy.
No.
But I enjoy every part of the learning pieces of it.
Yes.
And the education that's provided, the tools that are provided are phenomenal. So if you don't win or don't succeed, it just may be that it's not for you, mm-hmm. but maybe something else is. And I always try to find out what it is that people enjoy doing.
Yes.
Connect those dots, because that's how you can make it work for you.
No, definitely. Whenever you're doing something that you're passionate about, it doesn't feel work. The saying is, if you find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So 6 years ago, you get the call, you passed the test. I like something that you said. You said you took the test on something that you've never been exposed to. So talk about that a little bit, and how many clients do you come across that you're talking to about life insurance where you really started from a baseline where they're not just sure. They're not just sure. No one's ever talked about it before, so you're introducing a brand new idea. So what was that like, having never been exposed, and now you're in a position to help people with something they really desperately need?
Right.
But you've got a little bit of an education path to tell them why they need it.
I like how you frame that, because that's what happened to me, right? I'm sitting in these classes and I'm learning all of this information. Mm-hmm. So as I'm sitting there, I'm, taking it in, and I'm just like, there's so much I have to share with other people. To your point, how do you share and get all this information out?
Yes.
But I also don't want it to be overwhelming.
Yes.
So for those that don't really have that exposure or experience with talking about financial planning, what is that supposed to look like? I just start using myself as an example.
Great.
Because it's relatable.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there before. I'm here now. So I keep it very simple, because at the end of the day, if you keep things as simple as you can for others to understand that are not familiar with the language is important.
Yes.
We don't need to use very big words to sound fancy.
No.
Keep it simple, because those you're speaking to need to understand what you're saying, and what they don't, make them feel comfortable to ask you. If you have questions that you're uncertain about, please ask, because that is something that's going to allow us to build rapport and have an open dialogue about the next steps.
And I can tell that you're very easy to talk to for your clients, because what people don't understand, they don't buy. Like, I don't need to know all the details as to how my iPhone works.
It works.
I need to make calls. I take a couple of pictures. I send texts. I don't need it. So how have you found the art of simplifying life insurance so that people can understand and feel comfortable with what they're purchasing?
I always try to explain in a way where it's really about understanding what an asset that you have, mm-hmm. which is your income.
Yes.
Most people don't realize it's their biggest asset. So when you start to break it down, well, what did your income do for your family? It allowed you to pay your rent, choose what neighborhood you wanted to purchase your home, what schools your kids were going to. It also allowed you to decide if you can go on vacation in the next 4 months, right? You make decisions, and we have to work on doing a better job at assigning our dollars a job. Because if we don't think of it that way, I think that's where it gets lost. So when people have that aha moment of my income, right, your income is your asset. If you, God forbid, were to pass away tomorrow, how do we continue to keep John in school?
Yes.
Where he's attending now, where he's on the soccer team.
Yes.
How do we sustain that? And there's like that, right.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, if we think about vacations that we plan meticulously,
Yes,
and shift that mindset to planning our financial security and foundation the same way, we apply that same focus, we can definitely level it out.
we can find a way to do it. You had so many things in there that I want to build on and dig a little bit further. Hey Ray, what's up? I'm in the middle of shooting a podcast here.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. I'm talking to a couple of my guys. They're struggling with all this new stuff, man. It's taking them 20, 30 minutes to fill out a quote sheet.
That's way too long, man. I think we can help.
You sure, man? They're trying to do different stuff. They're trying to do like X-Day campaigns. They're cross-selling. They want to follow with people they meet at networking events.
Yeah, well, Canopy Connect, you just send them a link. What is that? You can text it to them. You can put it on your business card as a QR code, scan that up, and all they have to do is click on that link, find their carrier, their insurance carrier, and sign into it. And we're gonna go in and grab all the information you need to get a quote, all their policy information, their deck pages, drivers, vehicles, and enrich that with property data. We get all that stuff, right? So you don't have to spend 30 minutes on the call. It's all easy.
Well, shut the front door. Enough said. Guys, you heard it right here. Stop going old school. Use Canopy Connect. Thanks, Ray. I got to get back to the podcast.
Got it. See you.
So, Camille, a lot of people, especially in our community, when they think of life insurance, they think of final expenses only. They think if I have enough to bury me, I'm good. But you didn't start the conversation there. You started it with an income replacement. So talk about the mindset shift that you have to take people through beyond having money to bury yourself, which does not include GoFundMe. That's a side note, not a life insurance policy, but to shifting the conversation to income replacement, because people will come up with money for your final expenses, but they're not going to come up with the money to replace your income. So expand upon that a little bit.
I mean, if we think about making $100,000 or $50,000 a year, and we think about John, who's 2 years old, right? He's not even 18 yet. He's not working. We just bought a house. 30-year mortgages are average.
Yes.
Right, Kevin?
Yep, absolutely. That's average.
So with that being said, if we think about the income lasting until John is 18, until the mortgage is paid, there's your moment of hopefully grasping the understanding of the reason why you need to duplicate that income for a couple of years.
Yes.
And most people don't realize that. And even when it comes to retirement, if we think about, 401ks and things of that nature, that gets taxed. So if we're thinking about running out of money, there are things that can be put in place, like a life insurance policy to supplement. If that was an income that you were receiving, God forbid this loss of life, how do we replace that? Again, your life insurance policy will do that for you. So it's replacing the income to allow you to live in comfort.
Yep, that you would have made if you were here. And what I love about that, using your $50,000 and $100,000 example, if your mindset is that I'm making it now, I have to spend it now, but if you think about it, $100,000 over 30 years, you're going to earn $3 million if you live. That's a lot.
Right.
So you're asking them to set a few dollars aside to give your family, your loved ones, your significant others that $3 million lifestyle, which you would have had, and you could do that with life insurance. So I love that. I love that conversation and the money conversation. You talk about giving your money an assignment. Expand upon that a little bit.
So I have a budget tool I give my clients sometimes.
Ooh.
And when they lay everything out and write everything down, sometimes they end up with the negative.
Yes.
And when they end up with the negative, they're like, well, how am I able to pay for the things I'm paying for? We figure it out.
Yes.
Right? So if we were to take what we bring home every 2 weeks or every week and really start the deductions and really set aside what is discretionary income, what do we really have to put aside for savings? What does that really look like? That's assigning your dollars. And if you do that, it allows you to pivot, because maybe you're spending too much on groceries and you can go somewhere else,
Yes.
save more,
Yes.
right? I always talk about Little because that's my favorite place to go shopping.
Okay.
And I think, and I compare pricing and I do all that fun stuff. I know people do couponing as well. Great way to save. But if we really shift our way of how we appropriate our dollars, we'll do so much better at being able to park that $300 to the side, because we choose how we spend our money
Every day.
all the time.
Every day.
We don't really care about the pack of cigarettes and the coffee from
No.
Starbucks. We just do it, right?
The stuff we love, we have the money. The stuff that we need, I don't know, Camille. I don't know
Yes,
if I
don't know.
I don't know, Camille. I don't know if I have $50 a
Yeah.
month for insurance. We get real uncertain. So you just dropped the jewel right there. That budget word, that B word, that's so necessary. So if you
Nobody
are
likes to
looking
talk
for a
about it.
reason to work with Camille, it's right there, because she's going to help you in an area beyond just the life insurance, but some help you need, which is really just understanding your finances. Because one rule I live by, doesn't matter how much you make. If you're spending more than you make, if you're spending more than what you're making, it don't work. It just don't work. So I love everything that you said, and we can go on digging deep. But I did want to talk to you about your involvement in the community and some charities that's important to you. So I see you out and about, always doing something good. So talk about some charities that's important to you that you're involved in right now, and some nonprofit organizations.
No, absolutely. So one of them, actually on the community leader board for the Long Island Coalition for the Homeless.
Nice.
I'm located right in Amityville.
Okay.
That's actually a new relationship that I have from last year. My colleague was formerly leading that. So I decided to take over and continue. He passed the torch. And it's a great organization. I love the work that they're doing. I also work with Babylon Breast Cancer Coalition as well. Been working with them for the last 4.5, 5 years now. I am on their committee for Chef for a Cause, which, we are definitely supporting those that survive breast cancer or dealing with that right now. And also Turkeys Against Cancer. I do that every Thanksgiving.
Nice.
2 days before Thanksgiving, we do that. And it's really rewarding to be able to help others in that capacity, and give back. And there's also Baby Essentials of Long Island.
Okay, talk about that.
That's Belly. Used to actually create teams, volunteer teams, to go out and deliver diapers
Nice.
all over Long Island.
Nice.
And, some newborn items that may be necessary, whether it's a car seat, whatever was on the list, we delivered and dropped it off, including the Pampers. And it was really fulfilling to just see the families and their thank yous, and sometimes they still reach out for some needs that they may have, and I'll just redirect them to Belly, which is led by Kerry Goldberg.
I know. Shout out to Kerry. Know Kerry very well. Wonderful
Yes.
person.
Yes. So those are one of the very few. I work with a lot more. Black Long Island I'm on as well, but we do a lot of great work in regards to providing those resources. I think the tools that we give our community will allow them to just do better and gives them a sense of hope. I think that's important.
Well, shout out to you for everything you do, from the Long Island Coalition, from the homeless. So we think a well-to-do area like Long Island would have a homeless problem, but we do. Sometimes people are employed, but just underemployed, and they wind up in that situation. We have friends in common that are survivors that are involved with Babylon breast cancer. So shout out to Tanya Crawford. I'm sure that she's probably watching this, and all the work you're doing with cancer. And my first time learning about Belly, and obviously we're both familiar with Black Long Island. So how important is it just to you personally, just being involved in the community and giving back to others?
So when I was in retail, just to kind of give you the story of when this started. I've always been focused on giving back. So I used to lead, initiatives for holiday. One of my favorite organizations as well, which is Lori House, located in, I think it's Hempstead, right?
Okay.
Yes. And they have been they were always on my list for give backs during the holiday season. I think I still have that picture of us in front of Express, and that was the time when we did that. And it was enlightening for me spiritually, but it didn't have to stop.
Right.
So when I got to my office, there was an opportunity to lead initiatives. So I'm also the volunteer coordinator.
Excellent.
For my office as well. So I find nonprofits to work with to support for grant opportunities. I find schools as well that we can support their initiatives that they may have. So it allows me to kind of broaden my support through the work that I do, which I'm very thankful to be able to do that.
That is awesome. I used to be a part of a networking group called BNI, Business Networking International, and the philosophy of BNI is that givers gain. As long as you're giving to others, you'll constantly gain. As long as you're thinking me, it doesn't work out. And I definitely attribute all of my success I've had in business to giving to others. Everything I've had a chance to do has been the result of giving, not taking. So community, networking. You are one of the people that I view on social media as one of the networking extraordinaires. How important is it to anybody that's listening, thinking about getting into the life insurance business or any insurance business or any small business at all? How important is it to get out of your own way and network with others so you're constantly making connections?
It's so important. I literally talk to everyone from the drive-through at Wendy's to the gas station attendant to the woman behind me in the supermarket. I've had these conversations. So you can network casually, and then you can do it in a formal setting. People have a networking event, you can go out and, of course, and engage the people there. But I think relationship building, it doesn't come to everyone easily. But if you get to know people for who they are and remember that they are a person that, just might need someone to kind of hear their thoughts about their business, their practice, or just their personal stuff that they have going on at home. You never really know what people need. But if you ask them about themselves and remind them that they are important, I think it'll change the way we look at networking. Sometimes people are very, like you said, hi, I'm Kevin, from the business card, right away you're throwing in people's
business
faces.
Card, push it, buy.
I think it's so important that we just be natural in our engagement and how we talk to others. And I think it's important to just have a good time. Do things that you enjoy doing. I naturally just love people. I love being around people. I love people that are empowering, that have great energy about them. And they're people that I can learn from. I love to be around those people as well. But sometimes it's about just someone just needing a friend.
It's a beautiful thing. So talk about networking. As a man, when I go to networking events, I'm just thinking about connections. I don't have to think about anything else. Talk to me about networking as a woman. If there's a woman that's listening to this podcast that's thinking, I would love to go, I'd love to be at these events, but what if? How do you get past that and just stick to your business and go network? Because I run into you at high-level networking events. You're rolling by yourself, you're conducting business, and it's business. So can you talk about that a little bit?
So I think the language, right, it's about what we say, how we say it.
Yes.
That makes the point of what you're trying to get across to others. So if we take the time to, I always give a firm handshake because I'm going to match you naturally or I'm going to not match you, but most of the time I match the handshake. Firm handshakes are important because it just shows confidence.
Yes.
Right, in who you are. I think making eye contact is very important as well. So good eye contact and, smile with your eyes. Was that Tyra Banks says that all the time? Smile with your eyes.
Yes.
So I think that's helpful, but also just making sure that you're controlling which way you want the conversation to go.
Yes.
So there's things you can say, there's how you say it, but if you kind of monitor and direct where you want the conversation to go, it can go the way you want it to.
Yes.
It's just about leading right.
Ladies, a lot of jewels out there. Get outside, network. I'm going to restate it. firm handshake, extend. We're not coming in for a church hug. This is business. All right. This is that firm handshake, the eye contact, and the confidence. That's a networking workshop right there by itself, because when we're in our office, or sometimes people think I'm in business, I have my life insurance license or my PNC license. Everybody knows that Kev sells insurance, so I see y'all driving. I see you living indoors. Come to me. It doesn't work like that, does it?
No, it doesn't. And I would even throw another gem out there, is wear a color that most people wouldn't wear.
Okay.
So I'll wear like a power blue, but it's not like a cobalt blue. Not a navy blue. I wear pops of pink, bright colors, pops of red, because normally when I go out, or I wear my favorite, I call it my money green suit.
Let's go.
I wear that when I go out because it's eye-catching. People are going to have conversation about, oh, it's a great color, because you stand out in a room of everyone else in dark suits.
That's your retail side. No,
yeah, that is
knowing what works. Absolutely. All right. Camille, one of the reasons why you're here and why I've pursued you as a guest for 2 years is your social media strategy. I have a strategy. I coach other insurance agents that are introverts with a strategy. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, I probably owe you a couple of dollars because I've taught people what you do.
It's okay.
So much. But I've said to people that your social media strategy is so powerful that I know what your goals are. And you know, I don't know what everybody else's goals is. So I know that you're in the Centurion Club. You've written over 100 life applications the last few years. And I also know that your goal is to double that this year.
Yes, it is.
Crystal clear.
Yes, it
and
is.
I can state your goals because of social media. I also believe in the law of attraction. You don't mind saying, I'm looking for families in this area, or your license. Talk about the states that you're licensed in, and then talk about how important it is to clearly state your goals so you can attract exactly what you're looking for.
Well, there's always that comment, right? If you don't ask, you won't know.
Yes.
So it's important to me that I share what it is that I need, and those that may want to help me get there or empowered by what they see, that they'll want to kind of transition or direct somebody to me. And that's important. I like to share goals openly because it just tells me that I'm serious about what I'm saying to myself, and then I'm announcing it. And then you guys get to hold me accountable.
It's very intentional.
Yes,
very intentional.
It is. And intention this year is super important for me. So everything I do in the time spent, everything has to make sense. Everything has to make sense. And the goals I have this year are super audacious, and I'm not looking back because they are already in motion. And I'm excited to see the end of this year and that result, nothing less. I don't think the other way because there's no need for me to do that. I'm just thinking forward and ahead because that's exactly where I expect to end up. But I can't do it by myself. I do need help.
Yes.
I want people to come out and know that, you know, Camille's licensed in North Carolina, Texas, and Georgia, New Jersey, Connecticut. So if you have family and friends there, you know, you don't have to worry about them not being helped by me. They can be assisted. You don't have to leave anybody out. Everybody can be included. And the other part about it is that the more people that we can impact generationally, not only did I help them, you help them.
I mean, I completely love everything that you said. So let's restate the states for the people in the back. Let's see what I remember and jump in what I leave off. North Carolina, Texas. I missed a few.
There's a couple of them. I missed a few too. I didn't say all of them because there's a few. Connecticut, I have New Jersey, New York, I have Maryland, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia. I said Texas, I have Florida. I had Arizona, and I will be getting Massachusetts.
Let's go. The beauty of all your licenses is you're licensed everywhere where there's a New York pattern, right? People leave New York and they're going to these warmer climates. I've been to quite a few of those states last year traveling, and I see why. Shout out to every state where you're licensed in. Texas definitely got it going on. AZ, Arizona there last year. North Carolina spent a lot of time. So you are going to the right places, and you're sharing that, and that triggers the thought. Who do I know? Who do I know that's already there? And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So you said something about your big goals this year. So I'll share a word with you and with the audience. If you want the bag, set a big, audacious goal. B-A-G, big, audacious goal. If you want it, you have to set it. But then you have to share it with others. And don't be afraid to ask for help. I spend all day, every day asking for help. How important is it to you to ask for help?
It's important to know that I need it.
Yes.
I'm aware that I can't do it by myself.
Yes.
And I would love, the ability to just get up and make it happen, but it doesn't happen that simply. It does require the support of the community and the families and friends of those that I'm already assisting. But maybe for those that I'm not helping, maybe it's not for you, but maybe your neighbor, your mechanic, your stylist, those are the people that, you may interact with all the time. And I always take the group photo that I see on social media, right?
Yes.
From the family dinners and the vacations, and I see all these groups. And then my mind starts to kind of get rolling.
Yes.
And I'm saying to myself, how many of those people know about me because you know me?
Yes.
So I kind of always say I never want it to be a situation where, God forbid you have a loss of life and you didn't introduce me to that person.
Yes.
And you have the opportunity to. And again, it doesn't have to be me. I would love it to be me. But if it's someone that can still provide that self-security, that foundation, let's make sure that we're getting that information out. I have people in rooms that are all my clients, and I always wonder, do you guys talk about this?
Yes.
Because then you could have that one outlier that's not covered at all, and we don't want them to not be covered. So my motto is no family member left behind.
Love it.
I live by it. I stand by it. People that know me know that's my mantra. And it's super important that we don't leave someone out. They have a great job, great. Let's make sure that they really are okay foundationally.
No, absolutely. So offline, Camille, we started this conversation. You said something powerful that's very relatable as we begin to land this plane. You said people want to be remembered.
Yes.
Talk about that and talk about you and what that means to you and what it means in the space.
People being remembered comes from just listening to others in conversations where people are kind of forgotten. You go to work, you just kind of operate sometimes, and you just go. Then you come home and you be that engineer at home. You're cooking, getting dinner ready, getting the kids ready. You're like nonstop. I hear it all the time. There's no time sometimes you don't take for self-care. There's no one making sure that you're okay. And sometimes I become that person.
Yes.
That's checking in.
Yes.
To just say, hey, are you doing all right today? How's it going? Anything I can do for you? Outside of the business side of it, I have clients I go walking with because they're on a weight journey, so a lost weight journey. So for me, it's a little bit about reminding how important each person is, because sometimes we're just so busy we forget about us, and then people forget about you, not intentionally.
Yes.
Because everyone is just busy. And if we can take a moment to just remind and reflect about who that person is and the stress they may have had during that week, it can really shift how we operate with each other at home and how we are with our friendships, with our organization, with what we expect from people. What I've learned is that sometimes, we're not going to always get the response from people that we would like. That's natural.
Part of it.
But most of us get frustrated because we don't hear what we want to hear.
Yes.
But it's from a place of understanding where, if we can communicate in a way of being empathetic and compassionate, that will change a lot of how we respond, the tones we use, the hey, how are you really doing? Mm-hmm. It's going to shift.
Not the rhetorical one, not just saying it.
People really want to be remembered, and that's what I think has helped me to grow my practice, because I do think of people outside of just the work piece. I care about them, I truly do. And I want them to be successful, whether it's with a new job or I'm a new parent. If I can provide some tips and advice, I'm a mom too, I'll share them with you. If I have someone I can introduce you to help make your life easier, I'll do that.
Love it, love it, love it. Camille, we have clearly identified you as awesome in your profession. I'm so glad that you're in the life insurance business. There aren't a lot of us in this space on the island doing this. So although we don't work for the same companies, I'm happy to endorse you, because as long as people are good, I'm good. So we spend a lot of time on work. Are you all work and no play, or how do you wind down at the end of the day? I got your 5 a.m. to your 8 p.m. Do you wind down, or do you just unwind the robot and just turn it back on again in the morning?
No, I am a lot of fun. Other than my family, right? I'm a big foodie.
Okay.
So I love to go out and try new restaurants, and those that know me know I've been to many, and I've shared many of them on my platforms. But I appreciate a good meal. I appreciate the social sit down, wind down, and relaxing. I enjoy going bowling.
Nice.
And I'm also responsible for a lot of gatherings, including my class of '98 get-togethers that we have on a semi-annual, which we're going to do better, annual basis.
Okay.
So I do a lot of planning, and my life does totally involve people, period.
Okay.
So everything I do, reading a good book is important to me as well. And just taking time for Camille. Sometimes I just turn everything off.
That's a good thing.
And just take a moment. Sometimes I go to dinner by myself. Or I go catch a movie by myself. It's just quiet time. Sometimes you just need it. Meditation is important. I like going to the spa.
Okay.
I'm always good for a spa and then dinner after or lunch after, depending what that looks like. But a lot of my time, though it's work, doesn't feel like work for me.
Right.
It's part of my life, and it's part of who I am. It is my makeup. I am doing a lot of community service. I'm working with a lot of schools. At the same time, I have fun building relationships, period. And maybe it doesn't sound like, super exciting. I don't play golf yet. But I am on the golf committee for my church.
Okay.
I'm on a lot of committees. Every time I think about it, I'm like, how do I do this? But I really enjoy going to the ranges sometime and, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I travel often to PA. I love Pennsylvania a lot. I go there for the weekends. It's
Okay,
like a
so
getaway.
there's a word. You said you enjoy going to the range. Are we talking about the gun range?
The gun range, yes.
You enjoy your Second Amendment rights?
Sunset Hill.
They shoot.
I'm not a bad sniper, I'll tell you that.
It's not a game. Ladies and gentlemen, behind that
fact.
firm handshake, behind the business, there is a shooter willing
gosh.
and ready to exercise her Second Amendment rights. Camille, you have been a phenomenal guest. Thank you for coming. Anything you'd like to share before we wrap up?
I would just say, what you take from this session here is really to remember that life insurance is your love letter.
Yes.
That will go on forever. So don't do it for me. Do it for those that you promised to always love and show love, because we're not promised tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, Camille Davis. And if you enjoyed this episode of Wine Down with Kev, I know I did. Please click on that subscribe button below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Share this with a friend again. And if you have those needs in areas and states where Camille is licensed, please show her some love and support. Ladies and gentlemen, Camille Davis.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Thank you for being here.
Come through, take this out.